Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream. Today is July the 31st. I'm going to do your July 30th spiritual principle a day in a meditation. I am brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. I want to go ahead and do this meditation for yesterday and get it logged into YouTube so that at a future date, if you want to read it or listen to it, it is available. And then I'll get going on the Just for Today in a meditation after this. Okay. So thank you for your patience. July 30th, open mind, open heart, open spirit. Now, this is your spiritual principle of day meditation. Okay. Page 219. Open-mindedness leads us to the very insights that have eluded us during our lives. The basic text, chapter 9, Just for Today, Living the Program, which is where we get that IP from as well, if you remember that. Okay. When many of us arrive in NA, we fancy ourselves as reasonably open-minded people. But one thing many of us tried lots of different drugs. For one thing, many of us tried lots of different drugs. More seriously, we may have an anything goes or live and let live type of attitude and have been tolerant toward others who aren't like us. But were our minds even a tiny bit open to others' insights and opinions or to feedback about our behavior? Could we even listen? Were we able to admit that we might be wrong or didn't know something? Did we believe that we needed to change? And even so, did we believe we actually could? Probably not so much. Our experience tells us that open-mindedness is at the very foundation of change for us. While some NA members may insist that we have to change everything about ourselves, practicing open-mindedness does not mean that everything we know or think we know is worthless. Instead, we gain some carefully raw insight into what behaviors and perspectives we want to keep in our lives and what is no longer serving us today. And we learn to share these insights with others, asking questions, listening to the answers, and then letting those answers resonate helps us to identify our old ideals and patterns, see our behavior more clearly, and actively and act differently when it's called for. Tongue-tied today, my goodness. Open-mindedness is also one of the most indispensable tools for carrying the message to other addicts and for having productive discussions regarding NA service. We learn to listen more to our sponsees and service buddies rather than planning out what we want to say. In the process, hopefully, we grow more comfortable with the concept of I don't know. As one member put it, we're not here to be right, we're here to be better. Open-mindedness prevents us from running away from problems, ourselves, and each other. Many of us believe that striving to be open-minded keeps us closer to our higher power or to the higher self we want to be. I aim to keep my mind and my heart open. I will listen more and speak less, and I will allow my insights and opinions to evolve as my recovery does. What a beautiful meditation. It seems like there's a lot in there to unpack, but basically what we're talking about is being open-minded, right? Having a willingness to allow the ideals and the beliefs of others, not just hear them, but if they're sound, to influence us. Okay. A lot of times, because we think of spirituality as religion, we try to dismiss that spiritual principles are generally universal. Generally universal. So that what that means is that no religion is able to take ownership of these spiritual principles. That also means that just to say that spiritual principles are not religious is not deep enough, right? Because here in Narcotics Anonymous, we don't care what your religion is, your religion, lack of religion is how we put it, right? So when we're talking about spiritual principles that religion cannot take authority over, the opposite is true as well, right? The other end of the spectrum. So no religion can take authority over it as well. Lack of belief in the institute of religion does not negate your responsibility to have spiritual principles and to develop them and to practice them in all your affairs. That is true as well. I don't know if I'm making sense. I'm trying to make sure that we understand that spiritual principles are universal. They are universal, and that is why they work, right? They work because everyone can use them and everyone can apply them. The playing field is leveled. No one has authority over them, so everyone can have access to them. There is no religion that can say, we thought of the word, the principle of love. Yeah, we own that. We're very loving people, right? No, it may be true of you and your religion, but you don't own the concept of love. It's a tool, it's a virtue that if you have it, there's some other things that go with it. Love is manifested in various ways. Okay. So regardless to where you are at on your religious journey, that's not my responsibility to speak into that. My responsibility is to speak into the spiritual principles. And this spiritual principle is about open-mindedness. And it leads us to the very insights that have eluded us during our lives. So now I'm open-minded enough to sit in a room of people in recovery. Am I open-minded enough to listen to their shares, their input? Am I open-minded enough even further to allow any one of those individuals or someone else to speak into my life about my recovery, about seeing things in me that I might want to consider changing and not be offended? Because it's very hard for us to, it's like we'll tag along with the quotes that have open-mindedness in them. Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, right? All right, so we can quote those, but to actually put them into effect is a whole nother level of it. And a lot of times we show it when we're at business meetings. We show it when we are in the community. I see very angry looking people shopping that they may be looking angry or preoccupied in their thought, but if it's a long line and they see someone, generally speaking, coming up to the line behind them and they only have one or two items, regardless to how mean they appear to be, I've seen that there's a open-mindedness or a willingness to give preference to this person that only has one or two items. Oh, go ahead. No, you can go in front of me. You only got a couple items. I'm gonna be a while. Okay? So I see it even in the community where people seem to be very angry nowadays. I still see people giving preference to other people. Okay. So to take it beyond just quoting it and to actually do it is a different thing. Now, when it becomes more personal, am I also willing to apply this spiritual principle of open-mindedness? Because open-mindedness means that I have an open heart and an open spirit to whatever is being presented to me. Right? A lot of times, a person that comes to me that has done nothing but treat me badly in the meeting or in life, and they come to me and they say something that sounds like constructive criticism, my natural instinct is to block that, to close off my mind to that. I block that because I don't trust the goodwill, right? I don't trust the love in it because you've never been kind to me before. Why would I think that you would start being kind to me now enough to point out something that you think might become a problem for me? But now if I know and I understand that you have a pattern of caring for me and you come to me, I'll be open-minded. That's just a natural tendency. But that is also placing personalities before principles, right? And the people that seem like they're nice to me, I'm willing to listen to, and those that aren't, I don't know, I'm not taking that suggestion. But principally, it's what the person said proper. That's how you can understand and start gauging yourself, is if the messenger is bringing a message and you have absolutely no relationship with the messenger, but you find the message to be appropriate, are you open to receiving that? And that's kind of what this is all about. Because we allow ourselves to have this open mind and this open heart, this open spirit. And you still use discernment. I mean, we hear about discernment of spirit in a biblical sense, right? But discernment of spirit is intuition. It's, people call it a sixth sense. They call it so many different things. But at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, discernment of spirit, the ability to discern whether something is good or bad that is coming to you, is just as natural as breathing. It should be a natural instinct to know this don't feel right. This don't sound right. This don't smell right. This is not right. The problem is we've spent so much of our lives second guessing and doubting and being told that no, that you're thinking that no, that's just in your head. You're crazy, right? That when something foul is staring us in the face, we still question whether or not it's us. This is all about being able to develop your spiritual confidence. And so I hope today you'll practice the spiritual principle, muscle called open-mindedness. I think it'll go well with you if you do. I think that it will help you if you do to make further progress in the areas that you're seeking to make them in. All right. My name is MightyStream, and this concludes the July 30th Spiritual Principle Day. And I will be talking to you tomorrow.